Hello, my gorgeous soul tribe. Thank you for joining Yiannah and myself today for this beautiful, enlightening chat around higher soul contracts. Thank you for joining us, Yiannah. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here.
Uh,
You and I actually rescheduled a few times. We had bursts of little children and just so much going on. And so to be able to make it today was like, I'm pumped, ready, like, let's do it. Plus,
yeah,
you were on my podcast. And the moment that I met you, I was like, oh, like, I need Solreta in my life. So this is very fitting that we're doing this.
Oh, well, yeah, nasally sounding and everything after looking after my nieces and getting the flu from them. Yeah, I wasn't going to reschedule. And, I thought I'm not dying in bed today like I was earlier this week. So it's worked out just perfect. And I also want to pop up for those of you that haven't gone over to Yiannah's channel, go over and subscribe because you have some really fascinating talks that you have over here. And we've got the two that I've done with you as well, and the beautiful girls, which you have an amazing team of girls that I want you to chat about today too. So we did
Yeah.
the show on star seeds and ley lines and why matrix cannot be unattended or left unattended. And then we've got seeing auras, ET encounters, and fairy magic, which, oh my gosh, I had the best time with you girls.
Oh.
It was so much fun.
Well,
So thank you for having me on.
the feeling is mutual, girlfriend. Like, can't wait for like part 3. Like, it's happening.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. And I can see we've got some gorgeous soul tribe tuning in. Thank you, Emma.
Yes.
I'm
And a
sending
few
you
members
guys.
from our collective. So we have
Yeah.
the ladies and I with the podcast. It's Your Soul Wisdom podcast. And so we have a collective membership. And so some of the ladies here, because I posted, I'm like, come join me and Solreta and let's have some fun. And so I love when you meet wonderful people that you connect with. And it's such a beautiful, inspiring, like, cheerleading way. And so this is such a beautiful reflection of what you have built and the collective community. It's just like, I just love it. It makes my day.
Oh, thank you. And it's so funny. You just get sometimes those people that you don't even feel like you're, live on air. Like I just feel like we're just sitting here catching up, which is so great. And it was like that from the get-go when I heard your voice message and you could just feel this sisterhood. So yeah, hello to everyone from the membership as well. So let me
Yeah.
read your beautiful bio just to get into it and just
Okay.
let me know if I'm pronouncing things correctly. So Yiannah Ahmohr Manokas. Am I
Mhm.
saying your last name right?
Manokas. You
Oh,
gotta
because
have
it's
that Greek
Greek.
accent.
Anyway,
Manokas.
Manakos. Manakos?
Manokas.
Manokas.
Perfect.
Practicing from when I go to the Greek islands one day.
Yes.
So you are an intuitive soul contract reading and alignment coach and the host of the podcast Your Soul Wisdom. So you also empower individuals to uncover their soul's unique journey and purpose by exploring through sound frequencies embedded in their names. I can't wait to talk about this. You guys are going to love this that are listening.
Yeah.
So through your teachings as well, you also guide people to harness their frequencies to optimize their life journey and create the most aligned and fulfilling reality. You also are a co-creator of the Collective Monthly Membership, a space for spiritually minded individuals to connect, build meaningful relationships, and find their tribe. So currently, Yiannah is developing an intuitive card deck, which I can't wait to see, designed to deepen the connection to soul frequencies and support transformative and intuitive alignment. So, yeah, warm welcome to the
Thank
podcast today.
you. I'm so excited. And honestly, when you and I connected, we exchanged, what is it that, what's everything under your card deck and everything. And so as soon as I get to talk about frequency and soul contracts, it's like, I'm like, how much time do you have? Because I can do this all day.
We're going
Like,
to have to do a part two, maybe
right.
three, four.
Totally throw some readings in for people.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to like deep dive into the soul contract work?
Let's just get right into it. You
Okay.
start like where you feel guided to.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of a feedback. And so I came very much from, I was always spiritual my whole life. I never really tapped into it. above like conversations with like my mom. I'd attend a spiritual church, but in my physical reality every day, I had a 3D job. I owned a daycare business. And then one day, about a few years ago, I started waking up and I started going, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore." And for me, like the person who wakes up and the first thought is today's a beautiful day, I was like, what is happening? Because in my mind, my business was just expansion, expansion. And that was everything that was going to happen for me, right? Because we think we have a plan of how life is going to play out for us. And so I sat with that feeling because I am impulsive. And that is part of my sixth energy, which I know you also have, Solreta. And so I thought, let me sit with this before I go and do something crazy. And long story short, 6 months later, I sold my business. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to take this leap of faith. And so, somewhere in the midst of that, I'm watching a podcast, and this woman comes on and she starts talking about soul contracts and the sound frequency of your name and how each letter of your name holds a specific, unique reality that's created for you. And it's something that the soul chooses before you incarnate into this specific incarnation, right? And from the moment I saw that on my screen, I was like, I need to know everything about this. And so fast forward, I did all the trainings. I've done countless readings. I have the YouTube channel where I break down all the general information, right? And it's like I live and breathe it. Yes. Like, so if you go under playlists right there, and so you see, I break down all the frequencies, goal aspects, talent, karmic, soul destiny, all of that. And so I give you, anyone who's interested, you can download a chart for free. I do have a how-to guide, how to create your own chart. You can get all that information. I think it is, where is it? Free guide.
Free guide?
Yes. Put in your information. You'll figure out exactly how to do the chart. Or you could always do a reading with me if you really want to get into like the depths of everything. And
Highly
then
recommend it.
yeah.
There's just so much that, it's so hard to really gather a lot of that from reading it yourself, like to sit back and for me to take notes and for you to dive into everything the way you did. It's so high value. And so we'll be
100%.
talking a little
I
bit
could,
about that today too.
yes, and I could talk about it for days. Okay, like each frequency, there's so much information. And essentially, the story behind it is that on the soul level, and we know this, right? On a soul level, we chose what we wanted to experience in this incarnation. You're not just sitting here like born with like no plan. There is a divine plan. And so everything you wanted to experience in this reality, all the frequency, all that energy is harnessed within your birth name. So your birth name is not an accident. It's not something random that happened. Your soul intuitively sent it to mostly the mothers because they're the ones that usually make the decisions. But very often, like when I ask people, how did you get your name? There's some crazy random story of how the parents named them. And so I'll use me for example. My daughter, I thought, I'm going to name her Penelope. So until she was like 6 or 7 months in my belly, she was Penelope. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I get Olivia. And I'm like, where is this coming from? But I was like, nope, it has to be Olivia. And so I understand now that the reason all that happened was because she had her own little soul plan that she wanted to live out in this reality. And so we all have that. And so in our charts, as we break down each letter and the frequency that falls behind it, we essentially get the Star of Creation. So a lot of people know there's a Star of David. And your chart will show us your physical karma, talents, and your goals. This is all your earth plane 3D things. This is your external world, how life plays out, your biggest challenges. We also get to see like career driven. Then we get to see the spiritual triangle, which is spiritual karma, talents, and goals. This is your inner world. This is about that shift we make, about when we quote unquote awaken and want to really step more into alignment. And then it very much shows us our soul purpose, the divine plan. What are we actually here to accomplish? And it's funny because there's so many people who they'll come and they'll have a reading and they'll say, I'm trying to find my soul purpose. I'm trying to like get it. And I'm like, look, your your goal is not to find your soul purpose. It's going to find you. Your goal is to work through the challenges, to get into alignment. And when we're in alignment, things just flow. And so through these charts, we get to really see what's our biggest challenge, what's our biggest hurdle, what's the one thing that is the hardest thing for us to break through. Because that is also, we know your biggest challenges are also the biggest growth, your biggest gift in life. It shows this career path where you're here to achieve, and then your natural innate gifts, your talents. And so we can spend hours just looking at your chart. But for example, before I even look at it, I know if you wear glasses, you've got a 2 frequency in your soul contract chart. If you've been divorced, there's a 10-1. If you have a mother wound, there's a beautiful 13-4. And so every single thing that you experience in your reality has to show up in your chart, because your soul's like, this is what I want to experience. Now, how we get there, the easy or the hard way, is really part of that free will. Are you going to go kicking and screaming? Or are you going to work through your shit? Oh, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
So are you going to work after your, what you're struggling with, to really break through to the other side? And it's just fascinating and mind-blowing every time somebody comes in and they're like, this is my story. And I'm like, yeah, it's laid out exactly right in your chart. And it blows people's minds. And to have the ability to know how you can break through your biggest challenges and step forward into living with purpose and alignment is amazing. And there is also this 7-year gap. So we live in these 7-year cycles according to my work. And in that 5th year cycle, feel free to cut me off at any point, okay?
Oh, no, it's fascinating. I love learning from you.
Well, the thing is, we both have 3s in our charts. So we're chatterboxes. And so we have to manage our time because we could sit here all day. But we're the 5th year cycle, which is ages 35 to 42. That is the time where people get married, divorce, have kids, lose jobs, move countries, move homes. All these big shifts happen. Year 38, lots of that tower moment, right? That tower card, which I love your cards, okay? And so this is very much where things that no longer serve us or aren't in alignment, whether it's people, places, or things, they're going to start shifting out. So that 35 to 42 year age gap is monumental, because if you're not stepping into alignment during that time, if you're not shifting your thinking, stepping into your spirituality, stepping into your purpose, by the time you hit the next 7-year cycle, which is 43 to 50, you might get a little bit of that spiritual 2x4 going, hey, you had this time to get it together. Now let's really shift, because that 35 to 50 year age range, that's when we're really starting to really step into our alignment. Okay. And so it is a big, beautiful thing. And the way it plays out is just so magical. So when people, I always stress this, don't use your nicknames. Don't let people call you whatever they want to call you. The importance of your name is monumental. It's your entire reality. And when we have nicknames, when we have shortened names, like, for example, I'm Yiannah. So if people were calling me Ya, what you're doing is you're limiting the full soul expression of the person, of yourself. And so this is why it's really important to understand, what does your name mean? How does it create your reality? And how can you best step into it? And this goes very much to, like, I'll use you, for example. You changed your name early on.
Yeah.
Not for marriage. You just knew, my name is something completely different from my birth name.
Yeah, definitely. 4 years old, telling my parents, you've given me the wrong name.
That is crazy.
It wasn't until I was 21 that I legally changed it. But yeah, I knew very early on, I'm like, and it was a resonance. I didn't know how to describe it being 4 years old, but I just remember saying to them, that's not my name. And I remember them calling it, and it didn't feel like a match. And I saw Corbin put a message up in the chat before saying his mum named him after watching a lot of Corbin Benson while she was pregnant with him.
Okay, see, that's not a mistake. So understanding what that name embodies and what it means is really going to help you understand yourself more too. And I think what's really important is, we tend to think that our biggest challenge or like we're so hard on ourselves. We could be, we don't give ourselves grace. We can consider ourselves losers, or why can't I get it together? Well, nobody's perfect and everybody's got their stuff. And so the more you understand what that is, the easier you can step through it. But going back to you shifting your name, at 4 years old, you already knew I got a different name, mom and dad. Like I need
Yeah.
to go by this other name. What you essentially did was you took your birth name energies, which are like the energies, so main soul plan. It's never going to change. The main thing your soul wanted to experience in this incarnation. And you took your new name and you laid it on top of there. And what happens is sometimes, depending on the frequencies that now we're matching up, it could create friction in life. It could make life a little bit tougher. It could make life a lot greater. Or sometimes there's just no difference, good or bad. It's just a shift in energy. That's why it's so important when people change your name, make sure you understand what you're doing, because you're going to see that reality play out. It's
Yeah.
going to show up for you, whether you realize it or not.
That's so true. My whole life literally changed the week that I changed my name, and the whole feeling behind it. So I know there'll be people that maybe haven't heard me talk about this before. So you'll probably be like, "What was the name? What was the name?" So it was Casey Bailey, and it was with a K, which was a very hard. In Japanese they talk about the K being a cutting type sound, and I really felt that sort of more cut type energy with it. Whereas with the S, with Solreta, there's more kind of like a flow and a sensuality that comes with that. So for me, I was really conscious of, I guess, sounds and frequency, and the name Solreta was given to me in those kind of syllables too. And I remember being in college, we were studying a bit of Kabbalah and things, and my teacher gave us this method to add up the name, and then you would actually look at what the corresponding tarot card was in the Thoth deck that has the Hebrew on it too. And my card that I got with the name change was the card of the star. And I'm like, well, that's everything that I'm wanting to incorporate. And, the name also, it was a TV show called General Hospital that my mum watched when she was pregnant with me, Dr. Casey. So it didn't really resonate with, what I was here to do. But it's funny, I've had partners joke and say, "Oh yeah, my partner's a doctor," meaning that I'm a doctor just because of the knowledge that I've gotten things. So it's interesting how we do somewhat come through with that imprint. But I really agree with what you said, that it's like building upon that foundation. And so now I'm able to more tap into the soul essence, or bring that through anchored more physically. It's like my old name was the physical kind of building blocks, and the other bit's the soul part sort of stepping in. But there's still correspondences between both. And I find it interesting because there was a couple of other names picked out. The other name was Haley, so I would have been Haley Bailey. Like I would have changed that. The other name was Skylar, and I'm like, well, that's actually really kind of similar vibration and similar energy to do with the sky, sort of celestial wise. But yeah, would you like to sort of get into a little bit, I guess, using my name as an example, how things shifted and changed, or if there's anything that you sort of personality wise that the audience might recognize that we can break down to into the numbers?
Yes. And so each letter, so you mentioned the Hebrew. And so I guess I should have touched in with that. So the soul contract work was channeled by a man named Frank Alper in the 80s. And it's based on the Hebrew alphabet. And it's the spiritual numerology of Moses, is what it was originally called. And so essentially each letter is embodied by the Hebrew letter that it corresponds to and the frequency that it holds. And so it's funny because when you and I connected, you knew all about the frequencies. And I'm like, I've never met anybody that knows about the frequencies. And it's interesting because I have a huge um, Jewish clientele base, because they
Oh,
understand the power of it, because this is their entire culture is based around this. And so each letter, for example, if you've got a Y in your name, this is me. You're a bit rebellious. You're probably the glue that holds everybody together. It's like you're like the glue of the friendship. You attract people from like different walks of life, and you're a people gatherer. You're also very that rebellious nature. You don't want to go, you kind of go against the grain. If you've got an S in your name, that's all about the stomach. That's based on stomach. And so this is very much about gauging that discernment within the tummy. But also, you either, Solreta, you either love to sleep, or maybe there's that sleep issues where sometimes you can't sleep at all, and because it has this awakening energy. And so people with that energy in their name, they're going to go through this beautiful, gentle spiritual journey throughout their whole life, but they're going to have these moments of awakening where they
Yeah.
wake up to the reality of what is actually happening. And the key to this frequency is don't go back to sleep. Don't go back to sleep. Okay, Lori Ann, your husband has 3 M's on his first name. Okay, the M energy, I wonder if he sits a little bit in his divine feminine, because when men have that, they sit in their feminine, and it also has this mother wound energy. And so I wonder if he has a mother wound. It's all about the divine feminine, where if you have a J or an I, that's the divine masculine. A J or an I, you're like the, oh gosh, great work ethic, hard worker, but also judgmental, a bit self-loathing, very hard on the self and others, because you just want to get things done. You're like, you know what? I'm going to do everything myself. You're the doer, doer, doer. I'm going to do everything myself because I can't trust anyone else is going to do it the right way. And so it's about learning to step into that self-love, that self-journey. He's very artistic. Okay, so I would have to look at his entire chart, but the O and the U in his name, Lorianne, that's Vav energy. It's very creative energy. That's a 6 frequency. So Rita has it. I have it. It's very creative. Depending on the placement, it will be actually artistic or creative in life with how they do things, how they plan things. But they're also very hard-headed, very stubborn. You can lead them to the water, but you can't make them drink it. And it's reminding me, so Rita, you posted on your social media today this really funny meme, and it's like about like ADHD and what was it? It was a guy who was
I
saying,
think I can find it. Yeah.
yeah, it was something like, did you procrastinate for the last 6 months, but you finished something in 7 minutes?
Oh, yeah, that was the one.
Yes, because this frequency, they're the procrastinators. They like kick dirt before they actually do the thing, and they don't always complete all their tasks because it's very unfocused energy where that ADD comes in. So it's really important.
There's this one too, which is on the same sort of alignment.
No, not this one. Go back, the one before this.
Oh, that might have been on Facebook. I think it was on Instagram. I may have shared that.
Instagram. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So Lori, now we're basing this just off of the letters just from his name. When we actually look at his entire chart, you really get to see the main things that he came here to accomplish. And so it's wild how it all plays out. You got a 12-3. You love to learn. You're never ending. You're always running late. You're always like, I want more, 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 more. And so my teacher would say, when you're naming a child, when you're changing your name, don't put 12-3s in your chart, because you're always doing, doing, doing. And so, yes, okay, Jake, you're going to fill out your chart. You're going to love it, okay? But there's a positive and a challenge aspect to every frequency. We know this, just like everything else. And so while some of them bring in hardship, some of them can bring in narcissists. If you got a T in your name, that's the letter Tes in Hebrew. That T brings in lots of disempowerment for you to step into your power. So you're going to experience possibly, bullying, abuse, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, all of that. You're going to experience the narcissist. You're going to attract them all day long because it is meant for you to step into your power. And so how else are you going to learn that? By experiencing that in your everyday life. And the longer it takes you to shift out of that, the longer it takes you for you to shift that energy, right? We know that.
Yeah.
Once you finally decide, I'm done, I've had enough, who are you to disempower me? I know who I am, because also this energy, the 9s, it's a beautiful channeling energy. They didn't come in for like the basic package. Did you have so Rita, did you have a 9 in your chart?
I feel like I may have.
I remember seeing this to you, but the 9s didn't come for like that basic package.
I'm pretty sure you did say that, actually.
They're here for that platinum package. And they're like, whatever the best package is, that's what I'm signing up for. And so they have that drive to accomplish. And they're also peacemakers. While they may attract a narcissist, or sometimes they can be so harsh with their words because there's so much energy behind them that unless you understand what's happening energetically, it feels really harsh. It feels like you may be torched by that other person, but really it's just they're just excited. They don't really understand what's happening. If you've got an E or an H in your name, this is all about the truth. They are truth seekers. They want to speak the truth. They want to find out the truth. It's almost like you can't lie to them because the truth, what's happening here? Okay. Because the truth will always come up to them. And it's funny because they're the ones that will grow up being afraid to speak up, afraid to share what's really going on with them. But they're very intuitive, very psychic, and they feel energy. And it's like you can try lying to them, but they know something is not right. Okay, so Emma, you have that. Do you experience that as well? You must, because that truth element, that component is huge. They're also teachers of teachers. They're here to teach. And so also, if you've got a G in your name, that's also another teaching energy, and it's another chatterbox energy. That's what we talked about, that 3 frequency. It is the letter G specifically, but it shows up many different ways. It could be the L, which is Lamed, or it could be Shin, which is SH in your name. These are the chatterboxes. This is the communication. These people feel so deep. They have like a well of emotions, and it's about expressing it and feeling safe to do so. It's also very sexy energy. Colbin Lee, how do you feel with that sexy energy? You've got to feel it, because the more you step into that sensuality, the more this energy wants to release you. And so it's just, I can go on with every single name.
I can see that with Corbin, because I know Corbin personally as well. And yeah, he has this beautiful way of describing things, and you just kind of feel taken in and drawn by his energy when he's speaking. I hope you don't mind me saying that, Corbin. But yeah, it's enchanting to watch.
Yeah, and it's also very much like people with this Gemel energy, this G, this 3 frequency, whether it's a 3-3, 12-3, or 21-3, depending on your chart. They're the people who love to share, and they love to share things that they've learned. They want to share their clothes, their money, their information, their everything. And they want to see the result of their sharing. Now, it's very obvious. I've got 3s all over my chart. It's in my talent position. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I can talk all day long. But I'm so passionate about the things that I talk about. I don't care to talk about the weather. I don't care to talk about like something like completely random. I want to like deep dive into like the most fascinating things, and I can talk about it all day. And when you sit in that space with this energy, it's like people sit there and they're just like, give me more. They're just consumed by the knowledge you're giving. And that's when you're sitting in that teacher energy. So when I say teacher, it's not just like in a formal classroom with desks and students. You're teaching all the time. Oh, that's so sweet, Maria. You know what? I think next time we'll be able to pull up some charts, or at least I can get names and do all that. But what's really interesting too, and you're going to cut me off, and then we're going to move on to whatever else it is we're talking about. On our podcast, we recently did an episode, which is going to air, I believe, next week. And it's all about, we were doing a dowsing rod episode, and all of a sudden, I brought up to the ladies, I go, you guys, there's got to be something really important about why there's so many, you know how like there's certain generations and there's a very common name that most children are named. Yeah. So what we did was we pulled up the significance, or actually what I did was I pulled up the last 5 years, top baby girl names and baby boy names. And Olivia, which I had no idea, my daughter's name, your niece's name, correct, has been the top name, I believe it was 8 years in a row.
Wow.
And I remember going, I have chills everywhere right now. And it's not my little fan, okay? But I remember thinking to myself, okay, there's got to be more. And so what I did was we pulled up the charts on just the name Olivia, because your first name is equally as important as your full birth name. and to see what each of these names are bringing in. So think that for the next 8 years, we've got a ton of Olivias coming in. They're multidimensional. They're versatile. They're successful. They're here to find the truth. They're here to remember who they are. And so when you dive into that, you're almost like taken aback. It's just like mind blowing. But you get to see how our future kids, this generation that's being born now, what's their goal? What's their plan? What are they bringing to society and to the collective? And it's just such a fascinating
Yeah.
dive into.
That is, and it's funny because I can see, my Olivia, my niece, what you're describing, I can see that in her. And it's funny because babysitting, she's only 4 years old. And I had the 2-year-old as well, her gorgeous sister Violet. And I'm like, Olivia, how do I do this? How does Annie Soul make a coffee with your coffee machine? She's like showing me how to do everything. And it's like anything you need, she knows where it is. And she's just incredible.
It's because the 22 fours, they have this ability to, because they're completely connected. It's like the Holy Trinity, it's divine connection, it's complete connection. What happens is it's almost like they have this like energetic pull of where you're like, how do I work this fancy coffee maker? And it's like whether she's looked at it before or not, she's able to pull from all this
She was.
knowledge, universal
She's in the
knowledge.
moment.
She has it all figured out. So in the moment that something is required, she's gonna always figure it out. It's wild how it plays out. It's just so crazy. I love
Yeah.
it. I live for it.
It's so exciting, and it's interesting. I'm reflecting on when I named one of my girls, who's now 18, the name that I got, and I won't share it on the show just because it's very unique. I've never heard someone else with the same name. But yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you backstage later what her name is because it came through when I was pregnant so loud, and it came through with an image that was specific. And when I told another friend what I was choosing to call her, she saw the exact same image. And there's just the translation I got of her name psychically was from the bright world. And I saw this rainbow kaleidoscope of frequencies and colors that was coming in from outside of our universe. And her having that name was like bringing and stepping that energy down to crystallize into our dimension.
Oh, I
So
love
I'm just getting
that.
flashbacks.
We need to dive into that because there's so much behind that. It's
Yeah.
wild. But so then let me ask you, why'd you go with a different name? I know on a soul level, why?
Yeah. Do you mean for her?
For her.
Yeah, that was, I guess, I tuned into her soul that was coming through. And I just wanted to make sure, I guess, because, with me not feeling that I had my true name when I was born, but I wanted to make sure that I got it right for her on a soul level. Funny thing is, I didn't do that with my 2 other children. It was just her. With them, it was the name was kind of downloaded and set and more still, even though a little bit more unusual, still within like a normal bounds. But yeah, with my second daughter, there was just this feeling of her coming through and bringing like this massive portal of light, crystalline energy. And I'm like, I have to have the right name to anchor it here.
So it'll be interesting to see how different the energies are between the name that you got and then her actual birth name. Because my assumption is there's something similar. Now I will
Oh,
tell
so
you.
that is her birth name.
Oh,
So
it
I
is her birth name.
yeah, so I called her that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
whenever people meet her, we have people that will sing my name, like little children that meet us will be like, the parents will be like, my kid's been singing your name for like 6 months. They just will be singing your name at home and singing your daughter's name. It's so interesting that kids will pick up on the frequency and they just make it into like a sing
Yes.
song.
Okay. So the beauty of that is they don't even realize when we speak, right? It goes back to the word abracadabra, which we've been planning forever to do this entire episode on because abracadabra actually means I create as I speak.
Yeah.
Every word you say, every sound you make holds a vibration, is creating your reality. And so these children are singing this song or singing this name, but what they're actually doing is they're singing out, they're playing the melody of these frequencies and they're like sharing them out into the universe. And it's such a beautiful thing because they don't even understand. It's so pure. And so that's huge responsibility for us knowing that. How much more cautious and careful we should be with our words,
Yeah.
especially when we, like, for example, those with the letter D, that's the 4 frequency. It's all about faith and trust, but they can sit in a space of lack. And the more, because they're manifestors, the more you sit in lack, the more you're creating lack. The more you sit in faith and trust, the more you're creating abundance for yourself. But we often, as the collective, it's easier, more natural for us to go into the negative, what we're missing, what we're lacking, than what we have, especially in moments where we actually are experiencing scarcity. And so the more we shift out of that energy, the easier we're going to start seeing in our reality what we actually want to create.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this conversation so much. Jake has a question. So, and I saw he was saying he's been thinking about his name Jacob and shifting back to that. So, if I only had,
11 letters, am I supposed to
I could
use
bring it up into my bigger
instead of 6? I understand this. No, the full 6 will work. Anything 10 or less characters, you're only going to do a single triangle chart. And so, Jake, if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to message me on my YouTube channel or Instagram or anywhere, and I'll help you through that too. I also have on my, well, I guess I have it on social media too, but on my YouTube channel, I break down even the single triangle and I show you how to put everything all around. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, anyone else that wants to ask questions, just pop it in all caps like Jake's done. And it just makes it much easier for us to see because I'm operating on 2 windows within one small screen. So let me just check in. Okay, so I guess like going back to the chart that you did for me as well, because I remember you saying before, oh, you're welcome. So I remember seeing, I think it was you were saying, oh, I bet you've got this in your chart and this, and it was just so amazing to watch everything unfold. And you were saying like how it links into like what I'm doing for work. But I remember one of the beautiful things that I guess we haven't shared yet is the coaching aspect of what you do too. And let me just bring this up. And what I really got out of the session with you was you did such a beautiful coaching session around my full potential and around what it was that I can step into. And it's like I felt you were bridging the gap between, where I was or where I am, currently moving towards that higher aspect. You helped me to sort of see those stepping stones or to feel like that I can kind of pull myself in towards it like an alignment. Oh, and it's alignment coaching. So,
And that's what it is, right? Because it's about the frequency alignment. For you to be in alignment with your highest potential, your highest timeline, you have to get into the frequency of what it is you're trying to bring in. And so what we'll do is we'll use your soul contract chart, all your charts. You don't have just one. You have one primary one, but every single name, married, maiden name, common name, first name, middle name, last name, they all embody their own frequencies. And so what we'll do is we go, okay, where do you want to go? Because I do business and I do personal. So it depends, like if you're doing it just for yourself, for life, or for work, right? Because even your business names, your websites, your Instagram handles, all of those hold all these frequencies. And so Stephanie, I'm going to get to your question. And so with the coaching, we're able to see how can we best use the frequencies that are already available to you for you to shift that energy where you may be stuck and to bring in what you want to create. And so it's interesting because one of my coaching clients, I do this for many of them, but he was so stuck and he's like, he was trying his best to find resolution to a really, really big problem. And this was 2 days before our call and we were messaging. It was 1 day before our call. And I said to him, okay, all I want you to do right now, I want you to write down the 13-4, just because 13-4 is the divine feminine. The 13-4 is about allowing things to come to you. Get still. Don't do anything. Just relax, because the divine feminine receives. So I said, just take your 13-4, stick it in your pocket, put under your pillow, carry and embody that frequency until we meet. And so he's like, okay. And so the next morning we get on our call And he's like, Yiannah, he's like, the answer came to me. All the answers,
Wow.
everything I needed came to me. And it's because when you know how to work with the frequencies, you can grab and use whatever you need to help you shift any energy that's not serving you. And so there's so much, and it's so fun because it seems ridiculous that okay, if I write a 13-4 in a piece of paper and I put it in my pocket, what? I get it. I get how ridiculous it can seem, but there's so much validity to it. And when you see it showing up, you're like, what more proof do you need? No.
That's exactly what it did for me too. It's
Yeah.
like it's all literally written there in the matrix background.
Yep. And you have a beautiful 13-4 that you brought in with your Solreta name. You are like the epitome of the divine feminine. You're soft, you're gentle, you're loving. Your energy is so inviting that you want to be in your space. Like, I want to be in your space just because, like, the glow you have now. I can't draw auras like you, but I can feel them. Really quickly, I want to answer Stephanie mentioned having 3 10-1s in your chart.
Yeah. Oh, and I just want to shout out quickly. We've got the gorgeous Rachel here, who is also on your podcast. Just sending you big hugs too, gorgeous.
Love you, Rachel. Rachel is and has been my #1 fan from the day her and I connected, and I have nothing but infinite love and gratitude for her. Okay, let's talk about these 13-1s that Stephanie's saying. Mention 3. So if you have 3 13-1s in your chart, this is, again, the divine masculine, but it's ascended master energies. It's a natural healer energy. It is very much about people who, like, you could just be next to them and they just have this healing quality. It just feels nice to be next to them. You relax, you feel their energy. You'll see lots of doctors, lots of nurses who have it because they're service souls. They're here to be of service. And so sometimes you'll see them in the healing arts or their whatever service careers they'll be in. It's a beautiful healing energy. It's amazing. There was something else I was going to mention real quick right now. And of course it escaped my brain. Rachel's got me all messed up in all the beautiful ways.
And Rachel is another Aussie as well. And I just want to say thank you for your beautiful comments, everyone. You guys are so sweet. We literally have the most gorgeous soul tribe. And I feel like talking with Yiannah as well, we're blending with her beautiful soul tribe. It's just such a gorgeous collaboration coming together.
Yeah.
A lot of gorgeous energy.
Yes.
Let me see what else we have written down as well. So how do you feel, like, even to do with your name and your numbers, and also this is tying in with astrology as well. Do you want to talk about like how it's connected with numerology, astrology, and the Hebrew aspect? So you're really getting like this huge body of knowledge tied together.
And the tarot.
And tarot, yeah.
Yes. And so each frequency, and this dates back from the Torah, back to the original creation of the Hebrew letters. And the Hebrew letters is what actually created this reality. What creator, used to physically create everything. And so each letter, each frequency holds a specific planet, moon, or star.
Oh, I just need to cut in for 1 second.
Yes.
So I think it was Greg Braden talked about, gosh, this going back to like the days of VHS, like in the early 2000s. But there was a video that was put together. I'm not sure if it was Greg Braden or it might have been Dan Winter. And they showed the Hebrew alphabet laid out. And it was going from all the way from A right through to the end, essentially. And it was like one letter falling into the other, the other. It's like a fractal.
Absolutely.
So there's ongoing, and each letter contains the letter that came before.
Yes.
It's just mind-blowing. It's almost like this massive golden Fibonacci.
It is. And so think, for example, if you have a 10-1, you're going to experience all the energies of the frequencies 1 through 10. If you got a 22-4, you're going to experience 2 through 22. It's very multifaceted energy. For example, if you have a 6-6, you're going to experience that Taurus energy head on. It's going to be Taurus all day long. You're going to keep getting the same lessons in the same exact way. Those are called double numbers, 1, 1, 2, 2, all the way through 9, 9. When you get to 10-1 to 22-4, those are combination frequencies. And so you're going to experience a range of ways of how reality plays out for you. You're not going to keep getting the lesson the same exact way every single time. It's going to hit you from different angles depending on what kind of frequencies you're embodying. But again, everything that you're experiencing is in your chart, which is why I can spend days talking to people about their charts. And I'm like, again, I'm a chatterbox, so I have to like keep it contained.
But I mean, there's so much information, as you said, it also combines the tarot too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
it must be hard to sort of compartmentalize all of that information and knowledge, because just like how we were talking about the letters being ongoing or unfolding or unspiraling or into a spiral like the Fibonacci, there's just so much to keep like pouring in and
Yeah.
tapping into with
And
the names.
it's funny because one of the elements I really haven't dove very much into is the tarot aspect, because my brain, I've got an 11 too. So if you've got a C in your name, sometimes if you got a C and a B, but the 11 too, they have to really re-listen something or re-watch something multiple times for it to sink in, because they're really good at going, okay, I need to take a little bit from here and a little bit from this person, a little bit from that philosophy. And I want to create my own structure of truth because this feels really good to me. I'm going to let go of the garbage. But it takes a minute for all the information to solidify and to come together in this beautiful structure in our minds. And so the tarot, I'm like, I don't have the capacity for it right now. So I'm going to stick to the frequencies, the astrology. And then that's where my deck came in. So I created a deck, and now what's been holding it up is finding the right printer, which at some point I'm just going to pull the trigger. But my deck is not about, it's not your traditional tarot deck. It's an intuitive deck using all the frequencies. You got your questions. Let's see what best frequencies we can use to get you the answers. And so the way it plays out now, when you did my reading, you use a deck and you go, oh, this is the Hebrew letter, whatever it was, right? Whether it was Yen or Yod, whatever it was. And while I didn't understand, I don't tarot, I know the Tower card, and that may be the only one that I really, really know, or the Death card or something. But when you started saying the Hebrew letters, I knew exactly what was going to come up on that card.
Yeah.
But there's so much information that's embodied using all different, and it also ties into to Kabbalah. So it's endless, and it's so beautiful. It's amazing.
It is. It's so intriguing. And even yesterday, just leading up to our chat, I was watching, it was a Hebrew rabbi talking about manifestation. And I'll have to send you the link to the video because I had screenshotted it somewhere on my phone. But essentially, he was talking about connecting or having your hands out in receivership to source, to creator. And then there was a specific Hebrew name associated to do with an angel that you call upon. And it's not so much the word abundance, it's more, he termed it sustenance. And he said that we each have this energy of sustenance that's sort of preordained or predestined to us that comes from source. Anyway, so you're supposed to be in this state of receivership, and you say outwardly with your mouth, you communicate that that divine connection or asking with source. And then the angelic name is supposed to be said in your heart. So you drop your mind into the heart. Anyway, it worked. I had abundance drop in. I think maybe we do a show around that to do with future as well.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. Have you noticed that to do with some of your studies? There's different things you can maybe where it's, the power of spoken word to anchor or bring things in. Because I think it's AFAC. We've seen a few of your questions come up, and we're not ignoring it. It's just to weave it into the show's conversation. But they're really wanting to know about, I guess, relationships and love and how to, pull that kind of energy in.
Yeah. So one of my favorite parts about this work is that while, of course, we should know what our divine purpose is and how to step fully into that, it's also an integral part with families, relationships, partners, whether it's business partners, relationships, romantic partners, friends, parents. When we put everybody's charts next to each other, you get to see the story. And so this is really important when you have children and you're going to name your child, or you've already named your child, and that child, you have friction with that child. We get to see exactly why that is. Did you create some kind of karmic lock, some kind of karmic clash? or you get to see the beauty of how you're helping each other step into the fullest version of you. Same
Yeah.
with relationships. Now,
And this question too,
how
it'd
much
be in
effect
relation.
does the first name play in a person adopted?
So this would relate to what you're saying as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to adoption, your birth name will be the one that was on your birth certificate is the most important. However, if you, for example, if you were adopted at 1 year old, 5 years old, really, really early in your life, and your name was changed, that new name is also going to have major significance. So it's almost as if it has the same weight. It could have the same weight as your birth name. And so the importance of that, when we get those kind of situations, we will sit back and we'll go, okay, I'll ask you certain questions to see which one you embody more. And then, but they're both at play. They're both really important. Neither should be ignored. And so you get to see also when you changed your name, whether your parents did it for you, you got married, you decided to be Solreta, whatever it is, you'll
Yeah.
get to see, where did I create any challenges within that name? Same with relationships. Where are we clashing? And so it's interesting because, people say karmic relationships or twin flames, none of that's meant to work out. It's meant to propel you into your spiritual growth, which I do believe, but then you're not meant to be together. I also don't believe that, because even if there is a karmic clash between you and your significant other, if you're both in a space where you want to work, you want to heal, and you want to grow, you can 100% without a doubt break through that challenge and come into the beauty of it. And so it really is just about your awareness and how do you want to show up every day? Do you really want that thing? Do you really want the relationship and to work through it? Because you can. You just have to understand how to do it.
I
And
totally agree with you on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm someone who's had a twin flame journey. I've had deep karmic stuff. And it's funny because you asked me earlier something we were going to talk about, possibly any downloads or information. And as
Oh,
soon
yeah.
as that question came out, all this information came out. I had to write it down because I knew my 11-2s would forget it. And one of them was about canceling contracts. So if there is somebody in your life that you have challenge with, or somebody you deeply love and you have conflict with, and you want to stay together or not be together, whether it's family, whatever it is, tear up the contract,
Yeah.
rewrite the contract, sit with intention and figure out, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? What's the life you want to create? And you don't need the other person to do that. You can energetically do it on your own. And
Exactly.
it happened for me. And one of my biggest, most beautiful relationships in my life that was having all these hurdles. I remember the moment that I unknowingly finishes. I was like, whatever contract this is, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Consider it null and void. And you and I actually talked about this in my reading. I swear in that moment, I thought, why did I just say that? And the way that relationship has transpired and shifted in my life is the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. And so there's so much power in our words and our thoughts and our beliefs. And the more we step into that, the more we consciously create, because we're all creators, the more we
Yeah.
consciously create, the more you're going to shift that energy.
Oh, and Jacob's put down
I have
some of
all doubles. I feel like I did something wrong. 664499. No, you did nothing wrong, Jake. Listen, the sixes, that's your Taurus energy. Listen, that's the ADD energy we talked about. Becoming laser focused is going to be your number one thing. So I wonder if you're a little bit scatterbrained. The force, having that faith and trust that everything's going to work out, that the creator, that the universe will always provide for you, because you're a manifester. So if you have stinking thinking, you're going to create a stinking reality. If you think with hope and optimism and faith, there's nothing you can't accomplish. And you've got your nines. You're a pure channel, whether you realize it or not. And so
He actually is a hypnotherapist. So
okay.
we've done a few hypnotherapy videos together. We're filming another one tomorrow. Yeah. So
Okay.
this is where you know Jacob from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jake, love that video with Solreta. That's when I fell in love with her. Like, that whole thing was like amazing. Yes. And so depending on where the placements are, it could be a big challenge or it could be a natural gift that you have. And it's funny because many times we think, like when you tell people, You're very empathic. You're very intuitive. You're a service soul. You are an accomplisher. You're these specific things are like, well, isn't everybody? And the answer is no. No, the thing that we think everybody else experiences is not how everybody else experiences it. You know, I
Yeah.
like one of my mentors has laser focus and she can accomplish everything she sets her mind to. She sits down, she doesn't move till she's done. And I'm
Wow.
like, I got my daughter and maybe I should wash the dishes. And you know what? I just remembered like I need to do something and I'm so scattered and I try to channel her. I do try. But anyway, I'm digressing.
Well, I've had such a fun chat with you today, and we definitely have so much to talk about in a couple of follow-up shows. And I think it was Lorianne, perhaps saying part two, three, four.
Yeah.
So I
You
can't wait
idiot
to have you back
girlfriend.
on. Let me pop up some reminders. So if you would like, I would say that alignment coaching would probably be like if you want to get in and you want to jump in the deep end and have sort of fast movement and fast growth, an
Yes.
alignment, would you say an alignment coaching
Well,
would be the way to go?
I would start with the soul contract reading just so you can
Okay.
really understand, get a basic, but although with the alignment coaching, you're going to get that anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so you can really understand. And by the way, if you want to do a relationship or business reading, you really got to do your own birth chart first. So you really understand you before you could dive into other people.
So
Um,
true.
there's also the soul contract course, which will be released soon. I haven't released it yet, but there is a wait list. Now, if you go to the next part, it's the collective. The collective is our monthly membership that we do with the podcast ladies. Some of you members are in this chat. It is so much fun. We do these monthly, these 2-hour monthly calls. We have the most fun. There's healing sessions as part of it. It is absolutely amazing. Those are actual real testimonials. We did not make those up. They are from our members. And we also have a Discord community. So you're constantly able to engage with other people, including us in the membership. It is the most fun. It is the greatest. Like we just love it. So Stephanie,
Yeah,
Stephanie
she's in the chat.
is in there.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, totally. What else do we have? The
Oh, you've got
podcast.
the podcast and
Yes,
your
your
YouTube as
soul wisdom,
well.
you guys. Come join us. We have so much fun. We crack up. We have the most beautiful group of dynamic women. And also, oh my God, don't you hate how
How it layers them.
yeah, like seriously, you couldn't find a really nice angle.
Mine just the same.
Yeah,
It's always there.
yeah, totally. But anyway, any questions you have, feel free to reach out to me. Go on my website, book a session. Let's dive into all this stuff. Stephanie, you are a member. We love having you. We just have so much fun. But till next time. So
Yeah.
Rita,
Thank you.
I appreciate thank you. I appreciate you because it's one thing to be a guest on somebody's space. It's another to just feel like you've been here all along and there's this mutual love and understanding and appreciation for each other. And so I thank you for allowing me to share this space with you.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. That is just, it's gorgeous. And yeah, it just feels like I've always known you. And I think it was, you have friends that are sort of like waiting for particular points on your journey. And
Right.
so it just feels like you've always been here and that I've always known you. So I feel so grateful to have had the paths cross. And let me pop up. I just have to remind as well, for those of you that are wanting a personal one-on-one reading with me, we do have the sessions down here on solreta.com. And also my gorgeous potions are over on Soul Alchemy Potions. And
Which are unbelievable, by the way. I have tried. I have the abundance one and the romance one, I think.
oh, the love potion.
Yes.
Yeah, this one.
Love.
And I think the abundance I may have sent you as well.
So good. Okay. And then also, if you go back to your readings, your sessions, which one did I do?
We did this one, which
Okay.
is the Psychic Tarot.
It was unbelievable. One of my favorite sessions that I think I've ever had. And I'm somebody who loves this kind of stuff. Okay. And so it was so beautiful. And so if you haven't had a reading with Solreta, get on it. Like, what are you waiting for?
Oh, you're so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, it was so much fun to read for you. And I just feel so privileged to have had a session with you as well. It really is my favorite reading that I've had done. So, oh, and I just want to remind you guys, hit that notification bell so that you catch the next show that we're doing together. And I will be back now that I'm on the mend and repair to do a mystical soul reading over on the weekend. But yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming on, and to our gorgeous soul tribe that's here as well. And let me just see. Oh, so what would you recommend as a first session with Solreta? So definitely Psychic Tarot. If you've got questions
So
you want
good.
answers to, or looking into different topics or areas of life, we get a vibrational check-in with the tarot, with the aura drawing, talking to spirit. It's so much fun.
So much fun. So cool.
I can see a lot of love in the chat for
You
you
guys,
as
thank
well.
you so much, because this was like amazing. And so when people engage, it like adds to like everything.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you, Yiannah. And I'm
Thank
sending you big
you.
hugs across from Australia. And
Yeah.
thank you to our gorgeous soul tribe. And we will see you again for the next show. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.